Hey, we're putting solar panels on our house. Really excited. We met with Juan Carlos. He's with a company called, sorry, I got the paperwork here in front of me, Oxcon Solar. He has put solar panels on three other friends of ours, including our neighbor just a couple doors down. And we're really excited to get started here. We've gone back and forth a little bit. We can fit 10 panels on our roof. That's what we're going to do, and the price seems fair, so I'm going to sign that contract right now. It's in English. Generally speaking, contracts need to be in Spanish in Mexico, or they can be in both. The Spanish is the official one. In this scenario, I'm sure it's fine. But anyway, I'm going to sign it right now, and in another week or so, we hopefully will start installing the solar panels on the roof, and we'll explain the process as we go through it. Okay, follow up on the solar panels. Signed the contract about 2 weeks ago. The guys came out here and we signed two original copies, and then I had to wire transfer 50% of the payment to their bank, and they accept pesos or USD. So it worked out great. I was able to wire transfer from the United States to their bank in the United States. Just a minute ago, they came by to do some measurements on our rooftop. And the main concerns that I had, I wanted to be there just to make sure that one is anything they do worked in conjunction with the water flow system that I already have in place. And then the second one is just to remind them that it's important that we've had so many problems with leaks here in our roof that, you know, anything that they do to make sure, please, that these things you feel like you just have to say. It's like, I know you guys know what you're doing, but please, I don't want any more leaks if we can help it. So anyways, it just took off now. They said it will be about 10 days. The structure that they're building to put the solar panels on comes out of Mexico City, and because we're so close to the water, it's got to be a material that can handle that type of weather. So here in about 10 days, they should start working, and hopefully maybe a few days after that, we'll be done. Solar panels are here. About 2 weeks after they came out last to do the measurements, they arrived and spent a day installing the braces that will hold the solar panels on our roof right here. And that was about 8 days ago. And then we hadn't heard anything from them until today. They came back out. They just dropped off the solar panels and they started to run the line, the tube that's going to go down to the meter, and that will send the electricity that we generate to CFE. They acted like today maybe they'd mostly finish, but it's late afternoon right now. So I'm guessing possibly tomorrow we'll see them again. But we're getting closer and closer. Hopefully soon we'll be able to have them up and running. Three months later, we're still in the solar panel journey of getting everything working perfectly. And I was hoping by now I'd be talking about how it all works and what the cost savings are, the process to get to this point, and all the good details. But one of my biggest concerns, I think I mentioned earlier in this video, was about potential for leaks once they installed it, because as we've learned over the last 4 years, when they install roofs and they're screwing things in, there's not a lot of sealing around that, and that's the problem we have. And as you can see, the solar panels are back on the ground here, and they're having to completely go over this roof and figure out where all the leaks are, because every time it rains, it's just coming in everywhere. They were walking on the roof, so there's some cracks in it that we have to deal with. So anyways, hopefully over the next couple of days, we'll get everything sorted out there. The panels will go back on the roof, and we'll get another rain soon, and we can see if everything's working fine, and we can finally put this whole thing to rest, and I can explain how it all works. So, well, let's reassess here in another week or so. Another month has passed and no major improvements, developments. We tried all sorts of things to correct the leaks in the roof, from patching it up to putting new covering over the entire roof. Problem is, I mean, there's just so many holes in the roof and then also holes in those cross beams drilling into it that the water just finds an exit point, gets into the cross beams, goes through, gets into the cable wiring, who knows, but it just it'll find a way through and leak all over the floor down below. So what we ended up doing, removed all the solar panels, removed the entire roof, brought in mostly new panels, and they're in the process of installing those now. I've hit my breaking point where I'm basically going nuts. So done with it. It's a part-time job. It's a constant mess. They've never said, this sucks, man. We feel your pain, and this isn't how things should be. Like things should have been done a lot quicker, a lot better. We should have had people there that know how to work with this type of material, and we didn't, and we're sorry. But I just haven't gotten any of that. We really have to put our lives on hold for this project, so it hasn't been fun. But hopefully, here in the next week or so, I can say it's done, and we'll have solar panels finally. I can't believe it, but we're done. Last week, the new roof was installed with the solar panels again. We're producing solar power. There are no leaks, which is the most important part. We just cleaned the floors from the paint and the tar and stuff that was marked along there. I've done a lot of touch-up painting of these columns that are here. They got rid of all the debris, and we can use this space again. So we'll get the furniture back out, and that's really nice. It's been early April since we've had this space to ourselves. In another week, we should get the CFE bill, and we'll see if the solar power that we're producing is canceling out the energy that we're using here. If this process was done correctly from the get-go, then it should only take maybe 30 days for them to do the measurements and install the panels and get the changeover with CFE and all of that. But for us, it took another 60 plus days before we got the space, but thankfully we're done. And once we get the CFE bill, we'll make sure that everything is working as it should be. So touch base shortly. Just got our electricity bill from CFE. We have 3 bills because we have 3 meters on the house, but when we installed the solar panels, we made sure that all of the power that we're producing is going to just 1 meter, and then that 1 meter is providing all of the electricity for the house. Before, when we had 3 meters, we basically had 1 meter for each apartment, but we decided to hold on to those extra 2 meters even though they aren't providing any electricity for us. And the reasons are, if we do add another bungalow, then we could use one of those meters to provide the electricity for the bungalow. The cost to maintain the meters, even though they're not producing electricity, is only about 74 pesos every billing cycle, which is every 2 months. And it's really difficult to add meters. If we did need one in the future, we've got them, and it isn't too high of an expense to keep them here. People really do like to have multiple meters if they have multiple apartments or they use a lot of electricity, because once you move up into a higher bracket, you've used more than a normal amount of electricity, I guess. It's really difficult to get down into a lower bracket, and in the higher bracket, they triple the fee that you pay for your electricity. So if you normally would pay 3 or 4,000 pesos a month, if you get up into that higher where your bill is maybe 6 or 7, they'll actually triple that, and it'll be like 20,000 pesos. The other thing is, we only had the solar panels for like 10 or 12 days during this past billing cycle, and it looked like we did save about 1,000 pesos. But at the end of October, we'll get our next bill from CFE, and we'll really be able to see if the 10 panels we have is sufficient to cancel out the electricity we use. So we'll reconnect then. All right, thanks. See you soon. It's the end of October, and we now have over 2 months of solar panel operation to compare. Funny thing is that the meter usage fee just went up from 74 pesos to 79 pesos, which isn't that big of a deal, and I normally wouldn't probably have even noticed it. The good news is that we paid the 2 meter bills of 79 pesos just to keep those active, since they aren't connected to anything here at the house. And we produced enough solar over the past 60 days to cover our entire bill. Plus, we have a credit of 130 kilowatt hours to use towards a future bill, most likely during the next 6 months when our house is full of guests and the air conditioners get more action. Some properties do split up the solar panels among each meter if they have more than one. And there are reasons to do that to balance out the costs. But as of now, we're keeping things simple and having all the solar go to the 1 meter, and all of that power that we use on the property draws from that 1 meter. For the last 60 days, we paid a total of 237 pesos for electricity, all just the meter fees, versus about 2,800 pesos for the same time period last year. There were definitely some pains in getting this done, and I tried to condense 2 months of frustrating experiences into 5 minutes of video. But now that it's done, we are very happy that we did it. And honestly, for all the issues that we've had, we've never had a company just fix the mistakes like these guys did. And for anyone who's done home improvement or building projects here in Mexico, I'm sure you know that when something goes wrong, it's generally on you to fix it. And oftentimes it's going to cost you. I really appreciate that these guys fixed everything and didn't try to tack on extra fees or anything like that. So, what did we pay for this solar panel project? Exactly 100,000 pesos out the door. And as I mentioned before, we paid in USD through wire transfer, so it worked out to $5,700. Based on our past usage, I think our break even point will be in 4 years, maybe a little sooner, depending on the cost of electricity and if it continues to rise at 5% or more per year. We used 11,000 kilowatt hours of electricity in the past 12 months, and our 10 panels should produce close to that in a year. If it all goes as planned, then we'll go from spending like 27,000 pesos a year to about 2,000 pesos a year. Something else that's cool is that the solar panels are connected via Wi-Fi to an app that you have on your phone, and that will show you how each panel is doing, how much energy overall you're producing, kind of give you an idea of the savings and other stats as it relates to the solar panels. The lifespan of these solar panels is about 25 to 30 years. So even if we get like 10 years out of it, it's definitely going to be worth the effort. If you've installed solar panels and have information that may help us as we navigate best practices moving forward and taking care of them, please let me know. If you're considering adding solar panels to your house, then hopefully there's something of value in this video as you make a decision. And I'll do another video here in a year, and we'll see what our actual savings were. We'll see if there were any issues or anything like that. So we'll definitely keep you apprised of how everything works out. So thanks for watching, and take care.